Hello there. In this video, I want to show you how to make a decision on what kind of single sign-on solution you want to implement. So I create this decision tree. So let's start it. First, we need to ask, do you need authentication, right? If you are trying to embed MicroStrategy into your web page, either it's whether you are using a MicroStrategy REST API as a data service, or you want to embed in MicroStrategy interface. MicroStrategy dossier use MicroStrategy's embedding SDK. So you can use this decision tree. So first question to ask, do you need authentication? If you are showing the data to the anonymous user and you actually don't need authentication for the user, and you can actually use MicroStrategy guest authentication. If you're using REST API, you can call REST API with guest authentication mode and to get an auth token and use the auth token to fetch data. If you're using embedding, you actually don't need to specify any authentication mode. You're just embedding the dossier, so it will work. If you do need authentication, do you have a MicroStrategy session when your user reaches the page? If the answer is yes, and you can use MicroStrategy's API to fetch the auth token and use the auth token in REST API or embedding SDK. So if you already have MicroStrategy web session, you can call create identity token task and to get an auth token. And if you're using embedding SDK, you can actually use the identity token directly. If you already have an identity token, you can use the identity token directly in the embedding SDK. If you already have MicroStrategy web session, a library session, you can call MicroStrategy REST API auth/token API to get auth token and use the auth token in REST API or in embedding SDK. So that's this branch. If you don't have a MicroStrategy session already, and do you use MicroStrategy authentication mode? Right? If you're using MicroStrategy, one of the authentication mode, you can continue on this branch. So if the answer is yes, are you okay to open a new page for authentication? So if you're okay to open new page for the authentication, MicroStrategy actually have the login dialog page. So you can open this page. You can tell this page what authentication mode you want. And this page will automatically open that page with the authentication mode. So you don't have to let the user to choose, and you can choose the authentication mode for the user. And once user finish authentication, you'll get a message back on your page. You'll get a message. If you listen to that message, you'll get a message and you can decide what to do next. So you can you can watch this video to know how to implement this. We also have live examples on GitHub. If you are not okay to open new page for authentication, are you okay to replace the current page with the authentication page? If you're okay to replace the current page with authentication page, and you can actually open the login dialog in the current page, and then after you finish, you can actually redirect back to your page. So this requires you to make some change on the login dialog page. So we have some video on this conference page and this URL. All the video link will be shared after this in the description of this video. If you're not okay to replace the current page with this authentication page, oh, by the way, when you open the login dialog, when you open the login dialog page, the page might be blocked by your browser. So you need to let your user know they need to allow the pop-up. So there's a little bit inconvenience for this. Okay, so if you are okay to replace the current page with SSO, they actually don't have your page will not be blocked by a browser. If you're not okay to replace current page with SSO still, and are you okay to show login dialog inside the embedded content? So if you're okay to show embedded login dialog in the embedded content, actually it's pretty easy. So you actually you can use embedding SDK without doing anything. So you can try it in the playground, and if this doesn't work, if you use REST API, right? Because REST API, you don't have a like embedding the UI, so it doesn't apply to REST API. If you are not okay to show login dialog inside your embedding content, and do you want to fetch a credential yourself, right? Are you able to fetch a credential yourself? If you want to fetch the credential yourself, there are different options for different authentication mode. If you're using standard on LDAP authentication, you need to implement your own UI interface and to fetch the user's login and password, and pass the login password to REST API to create an auth token. And you can watch this video for a standard authentication. Same thing applies to LDAP. Remember, you should not save the auth token, save the credentials anywhere. So you should not store the credentials. So you just pass through to REST API. If you are using SAML authentication and you are able to get the auth token, so especially in the IDP initiated workflow, if you are able to get a SAML assertion, and you can actually call the MicroStrategy API to use the SAML assertion to get auth token. So you can call MicroStrategy library SAML/SSO endpoint to get a SAML, to get auth tokens. You need to pass the SAML response, SAML assertion in the SAML response form data in the body. So detailed information in MicroStrategy internal bug system. If you're not okay to open to show the login dialog inside your embedding content, and you're using the SAML, right? You're using the SAML or OIDC, and the user has the SAML and OIDC session already. If that is guaranteed, and you can actually implement a hidden iframe to log to the login dialog. So your IDP has so for this to work, your IDP has to allow iframe embedding. So you need to look for the settings in your IDP to make sure you allow your SAML or OIDC login pages to be embedded in iframe. So you can actually have a hidden iframe and passing the login dialog JSP, and the login dialog JSP will try to do a login since you already have a SAML session, right? This will success. And then it will send a message back to your parent page. Your page will listen to your message. So basically the same as this. Instead of opening a new tab, you just using the hidden iframe. Yeah, so if it doesn't work, if your user does not have a session, the hidden iframe will not be successful. You will not get a message back. So user still not logged in. So yeah, so those are the high level decisions for how to choose the SAML authentication. The other one I didn't mention is this. So if you're not using the MicroStrategy authentication mode, you still try to get the content from MicroStrategy, then you need to talk to like a professional service. So each customer has a different authentication mode. The implementation will be different for each customer. So you can talk to MicroStrategy professional service to figure out a solution. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.